That was a great time lapse. We'll have more of it today. Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Jen Carfagno. Thanks for joining us this Thursday morning. Got all the stories that you need to get out the door, including where you need layers. Bundling up in the south with more than 48 million people under a freeze warning. Miami is under a wind chill advisory. That hasn't happened in 400 days. So there you go, Miami. It's going to feel like it's in the 30s this morning. It's actually not as windy through the rest of the southeast, which is why temperatures are even colder this morning than yesterday morning. Another reason why we got the freeze warnings posted and a hard freeze warning for you in the areas to the south of or to the west of Jacksonville and in southeastern Georgia. So setting some records already. Let's see, Gainesville, Florida. We've already smashed our old cold record low. 28 degrees is where we are right now. 32 was the old record to beat. Jacksonville, we've tied it. Macon, we've tied it. And Charleston, South Carolina, we have tied it. I think Savannah, we're very close as well. So a very cold morning through the southeast. It's going to be better this afternoon. We'll get that March sun to do its work, right? But will it be able to help plants recover after this cold night? Several hours in a row of these really cold temperatures is really what takes its toll. An hour, probably not a big deal, but several hours of 25 or 24 and below is really what takes its toll in the big early leaf out that we've had all across the southeast and southern plains. And that map showed you where temperatures stay below the freezing mark here into the afternoon, especially farther into the mid-Atlantic. So today's highs, we go to 52 in Nashville, 53 in Atlanta. Again, it'll feel much better this afternoon with less wind, so you won't have that wind just cutting through you in the southeast. Temperatures still running below average, though. We've got, look, all of these spots here in the east, at least 5 to 10 degrees. That's the light blue and the purplish color. And here across northeastern Florida, 15 degrees below average for today. You guys are going to feel it in Melbourne and Cocoa Beach, the Space Coast. If that's where you are today, bundle up. Of course, in the northeast here, we're pretty cold too, with temperatures sticking around 5 to 10 degrees below average. All right, let's talk about the temperatures tomorrow morning. So this is the worst of the cold for the south and east. Tomorrow morning, you're back into low 30s for your morning lows. You can see Jacksonville, we're right at about 32 degrees, so not in the 20s, but still not warm just yet. We got to wait to the weekend for that in Atlanta. Here's how we march up as we look at some of those temperatures for today. We start this morning in the low to mid 20s. Burbs are a little bit colder, Atlanta, and then you head by lunchtime up to about 41 degrees. You make it into the low 50s late this afternoon, early this evening. Soccer games are going to be a whole lot better this evening than they were last evening outside in the Atlanta metro area. Same thing in Columbia, South Carolina. What a blustery evening it was for you yesterday evening. You'll have a much better one today. The winds have calmed down. That's the key. And that sun will feel good. Temperatures, though, are just cold to start. And then we'll get up to about mid-40s here in Columbia, South Carolina by the next round of active weather with a Clipper-like system that will dig on in as we get later this week. So say goodbye to Stella. We're gone. We're done with that. That's heading on out of here. Next disturbance comes in. We're going to see the front set up and then the low itself as it pushes to the east. It won't have a ton of moisture with it. It's a classic Clipper, so it's not like last time. The question is, though, what happens to it once it heads just off the eastern seaboard? Does it develop and strengthen and throw back some moisture and get more snow back into southern New England? Yes, you could add more snow on top of your 12 to 20 inches of snow that you already have up here. So let's take a look at what's going on for you with this system. It warms up enough in Chicago that it's rain. Milwaukee will see a mix. We're going to look ahead to your forecast for tomorrow that Detroit will see a rain-snow mix getting into Pittsburgh as well. Temperatures are warming. It's been so hot in the southwest, and while we don't get that hot across the Midwest, we will see temperatures that do start to moderate as the ridge starts to slide a little to the east. Now, we do keep the cold air in place, though, into New England, so it means that we'll have some snow chances. New York City, Hartford, you have the chance for some snow. Boston as well getting into Saturday, but enough mild air is getting mixed in that it won't be as cold of a system, and there won't be as much snow, certainly right along the seaboard either. We'll see more snow interior spots here into the northeast Saturday into Sunday as our system continues to strengthen off the coast, but then also head out at the same time, heading out to sea. All right, let's talk more about this forecast where we could be finding anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of snow. A couple areas locally, 5 to 8 inches of snow where you get a little help from the mountains here. But other than that, we're going to be looking for this to be a fairly light snow event. Marquette, Michigan, though, it's more snow on top of what we've had. You've got Thursday night. That's tonight. The snow coming on in. Throughout the day tomorrow, you see your temperatures right about 34 degrees, and we'll watch for the snow to continue, but tapering off by overnight Friday night. All right, we are to go to what is new this morning, and crews in Portland, Oregon are working. All right, so let's take it out to the forecast for the next changing weather to come through the south. Just as soon as we start warming up again, we bring in the rain, and that comes to Nashville by tomorrow. We may actually see the chance for some thunderstorms Friday night. You can see that forecast, but look how much different. So, you know, last night at midnight, it was dropping through the low 30s. Now, tomorrow night at midnight, we're going to have temperatures up near 60. Huge change coming for you temperature-wise and pattern-wise as well. Here's our next disturbance that moves on in. We're going to see that surface front and surface low develop. Now, as we watch the front sink into the south, there's going to be a little piece of energy that comes in, helps to get some thunderstorms going across eastern Oklahoma, into Arkansas, into parts of Tennessee as well. This starts tomorrow, continues into tomorrow night, and then spreading east as we get you through the early part of Saturday. Here's how the front sort of pans out when it gets into the Tennessee Valley. We'll have rain and possible thunderstorms scattered from Little Rock to Memphis to Nashville, even over towards Chattanooga. But the front, you know, it doesn't get too much farther than this. It sort of fizzles, doesn't have a ton of moisture with it. So while we have rain in the forecast for places like Birmingham and Atlanta on Saturday, Greenville and Charlotte as well, I would say it's more scattered showers, and it sort of is an all-day rain there. A better chance of hanging on to the rain in places like Raleigh and maybe over towards Wilmington in North Carolina. All right, looking at that forecast here, you can see most spots very light in the way of rainfall, less than an inch actually in most locations. So this front doesn't have all the moisture tap that the previous ones that we've had in the south has. It's going to be quick couple showers out there, and then we'll get it through. All right, Little Rock, we've got your forecast for thunderstorms coming in late in the day tomorrow. Your temperatures tomorrow much warmer. We're getting up into the upper 60s. Tomorrow night, thunderstorms come in just as your Friday night rolls in, and the chance for thunderstorms continuing through the overnight and actually wrapping up by the time your Saturday begins. So I guess timing could be good if you have outdoor plans on Saturday. Let's look at the Atlanta forecast. You got a couple of shower chances coming your way, not till the weekend. So we'll be dry for today and for tomorrow, and tomorrow night looks good as well. But by Saturday morning, you're going to be looking at that forecast and watching the radar pretty closely for your baseball games and for your soccer games and lacrosse and everything else, because we've got showers in that forecast early Saturday morning, but then drying up into the afternoon. Now, new this morning, cleanup is underway across the Northeast after a late winter storm dumped over 30 inches of snow on parts of the region. You're waking up to freezing temperatures this morning. There is a weekend warm up underway. All right, let's take a look at that forecast for today. Of course, we're going to be looking at temperatures rebounding into the mid-50s in Atlanta, 38 in Chicago, which is just a smidge below average. We're starting that warm up trend. Records actually will fall again today in the Southwest because of the heat. We're going to have record high temperatures across this area. That ridge moves into the middle of the country. So Dallas, we're getting up to 80 by Friday. Temperatures back to the 60s in Atlanta, back to nearly 50 in Chicago, with rain coming in with that next clipper coming on in. But as the clipper goes to the northeast, get ready. As it heads off the coast, it could strengthen and it could throw some snow back into New England, especially southern New England. We'll watch for some snow chances Saturday into Sunday. Also in the west, you notice what's back is the rain. Now, I know Seattle and Portland and just along the northwest coast, you guys have had the rain, but now we're going to spread it down with the chance for some rain returning back into Northern California. And that's a trend you'll see more of next week. Across the middle of the country, we got heat. We got 77 in Denver, 83 in Dallas on Sunday. We're going to break some records in Colorado this weekend, looking at those temperatures, and back to closer to average. Atlanta 64, Miami back into the low 80s. And it's a task no one wants. And welcome back to AMHQ Early. It's about half past the hour. We'll take you into the cold that you are feeling this morning across the south, all the way into South Florida, where there are wind chill advisories up for Miami. Yes, it is that cold. Let's go to Birmingham, Atlanta. You guys will warm up. This is your last really cold morning. So here we go with the freeze warnings that are up, including St. Louis again, and then all the way down into the deep south. Even a hard freeze warning in South Georgia and in parts of Florida just to the west of Jacksonville. Just saw a new record low come in Cedar Rapids this morning in Iowa, down to 2. It is so cold and it is so dry as well. Dew points last night all the way into the south dropped into the single digits. That's Arctic air. That's a lip balm alert. That's drink extra water, extra moisturizer. And the cold that comes with it is setting records. Gainesville down to 28, breaking the old record of 32. Jacksonville tying the record right now. Macon tying the record. And Charleston, South Carolina, it is 28 degrees. We are tying the record low temperature as we speak. And we still have time to drop. So temperatures all across the southeast are well below the freezing mark. So you could be scraping some ice off your windshield, although I don't know, it's so dry, I bet you don't have any frost out there on that windshield. The other problem, of course, is that if you didn't cover up your plants, you're in trouble because so much of the southeast has leafed out early. Flowers have bloomed, blossoms on the trees, right? And with those temperatures below 32 degrees well into the south and actually into the 20s for several hours, that's when you start to run into damage. Now let's look at those temperatures today. We rebound, getting closer to average, back to the mid-50s, but we're still below average when we look at those high temperatures. It'll just feel better because there won't be as much wind today into the southeast, all across the eastern seaboard, running about 5 to 10 degrees below average. Jacksonville, you're actually nearly 15 at only 60 degrees for a high. Here's how we warm up today. We start in the 20s, getting up into the 40s by about lunchtime in Columbia, South Carolina, and then we'll see temperatures top out in the mid-50s. It'll feel better. It'll just be less windy, so it will feel better than yesterday, although still running below average. Temperatures through the southeast are going to follow the same pattern. Nice warm up compared to the morning to the afternoon. Your ride home from work, getting back out to your car after work will feel much, much better than this morning. Here we go. Grab a cup of coffee this morning. We still have some snowflakes flying in the Midwest today, not in Marquette, but we'll get those out of here. And then just as soon as they're out, we bring the next system in. Good today in Marquette, 38 degrees and sunny, but by tonight we'll start to see some snow showers come back with our next clipper system that comes into the region. And here's where it goes. You know, we see the chance for some wintry weather across northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, but look how far north the snow is. I mean, there's a lot of mixed precip going on, and we could see some rain mixed with snow or even some freezing rain or sleet mixing in as well, because temperatures are going to be more mild. We don't have that real cold Arctic cold that we have had across the area. It moderates. Temperatures tomorrow again moderate into lower Michigan and even Ohio, but we still have air that is cold enough that we could see a mix of rain and snow. So Interstate 80, also Interstate 70. Again, you got to watch for that into your Friday. Friday night, it's going to be rain getting into Pittsburgh, and then we'll watch the Turnpike in Pennsylvania and north of there for any of that mixed precip. And then snow 80 and farther north. Chance of snow moving in along 90. Again, getting into southern New England. The Mass Pike will have some snow coming in on Saturday. Could be affecting travel because we're watching this low. It's a clipper, but once it heads off the coast, then it becomes a coastal storm, and it has the chance to strengthen a little bit more, throw a little more moisture, kick up a little more wind, and we'll see that Saturday night, potentially with more snow spreading down into southern New England and possibly even to New York City. All right, so we've got the continuation of what we are tracking here between this next clipper coming in, plus the temperatures on the move with the warmth coming back across the south. We've been hitting records on the southwest the last couple of days. Vegas, we did it yesterday, 88 degrees. Salt Lake City, we were in the mid-70s setting records. We're going to move that ridge to the middle of the country and start warming back up those temperatures. In fact, going about 10 to 30 degrees above average right here across the middle of the nation, and we will see that spread into the southeast. We'll watch temperatures tomorrow getting back to 80 in Dallas, 82 in Corpus Christi. Look at that 90 in Midland and Wichita and even St. Louis. What a turnaround. We're finally back into the upper 60s after a very cold start to this week. We got Saturday's forecast warming back up through the rest of the southeast, getting close to 70 in Atlanta. And this morning, we'll have the latest on what you can expect as we continue to clean up from Stella. What's left behind? How much snow did you... Well, that was really interesting. I actually had no idea. All right, so let's go to today's farmers forecast. It's a tense morning for strawberry farmers across Florida as record low temperatures... Oh my gosh, that's great. These costumes show up everywhere. You could use one in the south today to help you stay warm, especially at the bus stop. Temperatures are down below freezing. In fact, down into the 20s all across the deep south. Freeze warnings are up. Hard freeze warning for you in northeastern Florida and southeastern Georgia. Real concern for the plants down there, the strawberry plants, the peach crop, of course, and you know what? The blueberries, especially susceptible to the cold. Already for snow coming into Boston. All right, so let's look first at what we got from Stella. 6.6 inches of snow in Boston. It was all that mixing of rain and sleet that cut down on your snow totals there. As we look ahead to your forecast, today, tomorrow will be quiet. Temperatures tomorrow get up to 37 degrees, but then our next system comes in, and it comes in as a clipper, but then heads off the coast. And when that happens, we're going to be looking for the chance for it to strengthen and potentially dump more snow back into southern New England. Here's how things pan out. Let's get rid of our departing system, our Stella and the upper level low along with it. That goes away. Next system comes in. And first of all, you got to notice there's not as huge of a trough across east like we just saw with Stella. So it's not as potent as a system. There's not as much cold air kind of feeding into it. But it's cold enough up here, especially with our snowpack keeping temperatures sort of refrigerated. So we'll be cold. Now the low comes in wind comes across and off the Atlantic coast. It's a bit more progressive, too, than we just saw with Stella. Still, though, as it strengthens right here, it'll dump moisture and into the cold air. There will be snow possible, some heavier snow at that possible into southern New England. So for tonight, here's the forecast. We start with the Clipper, and as a Clipper, it doesn't have a lot of access to moisture. There'll be some wintry mix of precip since temperatures are going to be more mild, but then we get you into tomorrow night, into Friday night, into Saturday. That's when the low goes to the northeast and then off the coast by Sunday. All right, more on Stella, a record-setting winter storm.